Hi guys, it's me, Carrie Silverlining Mena, and I had to record an intro and I had to record an outro because I forgot some stuff. That's what I do. So I'll try to keep this intro short though. This is going to be a video, kind of a continuation of my experience as a twin flame runner. And I'm actually getting ready right now to film like part 3 because I've been processing some more and I kind of took some time. I spoke a couple videos ago, whenever it was, about the shame I feel about my body fat. Well, I decided to dig a little bit deeper and find out that what's underneath that layer? What's underneath that layer of fat that I'm actually really ashamed of? Because it looks like it's the fat, but I think it's, that represents something else. And I touched on it a little bit at the end of this video, but I didn't, and just that little bit let me know that there's more to explore. So that's what this next one's going to be. And I think that might be the last one about the twin flame runner stuff. We'll see. I don't know how much I can stretch this thing out, but I'm constantly growing and evolving from my twin flame bullshit. Back in December, I said, this is probably one of the last ones you'll ever see about this. And I'm going to, switch gears and change silver linings up, but not yet. I got to get through this stuff. And I kind of enjoy it. I feel like I'm hoping that I've been told, how I feel about things I've been told about. Can only sort of believe them. But when I glom on to some tour company, some spiritual tour group, whatever, I'm hoping that I will lecture, teach, whatever, about my twin flame experience because when you don't, because I'm very knowledgeable about it and it's easy to tell it's a challenge to tell your own story because it's put you in a vulnerable place, but your own story, so you can't fuck it up. Because other things, like when people put me on the spot to channel and things like that, I'm not so good at it yet and it embarrasses me. But this is a topic that I feel very confident about. And while I realize that my story is unique because it's mine, it also has much commonality. In fact, I feel like I'm kind of a cliche. And I'll talk about that another day too. But I do kind of follow the pattern of twin flames. I just happen to have 3 of them, and that's the place that makes me a bit of an anomaly. So let me go ahead and jump into what I have to correct on this one. One of the things I accidentally said was that I hadn't had sex since I was a teenager. That's not true. I meant to say any kind of consistent sex. However, it was never with a consistent man. So I just felt so stupid when I heard myself say that. That is just not true. I have actually had sex since I was a teenager. Just not very often. And the other thing that I tripped myself up because I began speaking about free will and I went off on my regular tangent, my regular spiel about what it means to me to have free will. And everything I said was correct, but I didn't apply it appropriately. I didn't apply it in the way I meant to. And I think what I was getting at is somewhere along the lines of, well, no other source has any kind of power or say so over what I do. I work together as a team with my higher self, with Fairy Girl. And it doesn't always feel like a team because sometimes I'm running on my ego. So I think what I was trying to say was that even though I have a say-so in things, she does too. And sometimes she will override what my ego wants to do. So that's kind of where I think I was getting at. And I hope this explanation, you'll be able to apply that when it comes. If not, then just forget that whole thing. I even talked about free will at the end of the video, and I completely confused myself there. For somebody that feels like she's got it figured out, I get confused pretty often. All right, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and get this video started. In my intro, put it all together and publish it. And as soon as I click stop, I'm going to jump right in to the next video about all my loose ends and just the other things that I've come up with, little bits and pieces that tie together. All right, you guys, I'm going to jump right in. Thanks. Hi, it's me, Carrie Silverlining Mena. And this episode is going to be kind of a continuation of the last one about Twin 3, Jessie, and about me running and what I'm going to do about that. And in the last week's video, I mentioned that resistance was futile. So I kind of just was waiting to get a sense of being ready to reconnect with Jesse. I did not want it to be at the Stardust event, which was supposed to be in September, but H and I decided to go ahead and postpone that until next spring, just because we don't know what's going to happen with the Earth. And even if America opens, maybe international people won't be able to travel here or just don't want to, because I guess America's kind of nuts right now. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. But I was pretty relieved when I realized that wasn't like coming up soon. So I started to, like I said, wait for a moment to be ready. And I kept thinking about that past life. And as a quick review, in case you didn't watch last week's or, 6 months ago, because this is good, this will be the third time that I describe it. Basically, what this other life was about, and I got stories to tell about this one. I think something's going to happen with this. But Fairy Girl, in a trance channeling with Heather, wanted to give me some comfort because I was missing my fairy boy. And so she said, okay, well, here's a past life you had with him, but I want you to picture him with the face he has now. And so all this time I've been believing that life was with Fairy Boy. And maybe it was. I just don't get it. Either way, that life is paralleled with what's happening right now in my life with Jessie. So maybe that wasn't ever Fairy Boy. Maybe she was just trying to get me to listen and pay attention and appreciate it, because I just wasn't ready to hear about any kind of love with Jessie. So some of the things that I've come to, and I still don't know what's going on with that. It doesn't even matter. I'll figure it out later. But we know with who is who and why she told me what she did. If that weren't, whatever it was, I'll figure it out later. That part's not important. But what did kind of stick with me were a couple things. And one of them was I kind of equated the Pahrump house with the smelly old barn. In that other life, when I decided to give this guy that's been pursuing me a chance, I just took him to the smelly old barn and rolled around in the dirty old hay. And then afterwards is when I fell in love with him. And this time around, I'm like, I can't do that. I can't fuck somebody I don't love. I don't want to do that. That's not who I am. I even tried, I couldn't say this before, but when Jesse was at my house, that must have been so surreal for him. I can't imagine being in the homes of Michael or Fairy Boy. I would just be like, smelling the walls. That'd be strange. But when he was here, I've had my suspicions all along that he was the twin. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do it. And I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. And so that played on me believing that I have to be in love in order to have sex with, whoever I'm going to have sex with. I got to love them. But then I remembered a while ago, I was asking, and I don't know if it was if I published it or if it was just a private reading, but I was asking, what's it going to be like with all these, lovers I'm going to be having? And I go, is it going to be like constantly, chasing? Is it, what is it? And the answer I got was, I don't remember verbatim, but something to the effect of, it's going to be a little bit of everything. Like some of them, you will pursue them and they'll come to love you, or they'll pursue you and you'll come to love them. There will be another one where you just like fuck and deal with the love later. And so there's all these different combinations, but hearing that one about that we'll fuck and the love will come later reminded me that might not be the case, or may be the case in this circumstance. And what also added to that was that past life, because even though I'm not that girl, I kind of am still, because in my ponderings, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not ever going to be ready for Jesse. I am that girl. I'm that girl again. We're having a do-over. I'm wondering what he's healing from, if it's even him. I feel like it is, because why would Fairy Boy repeat Jesse's life? You'd think that Jesse would repeat his own life, his own circumstance in order to heal from it. So So I decided that, God, and this is so disappointing to me because I want to anticipate it. I want to be excited for it, but I'm not. I dread this. I'm so uncomfortable with it. And let me kind of explain why that is. Well, if you watched last week's episode, Jesse is a representative of the things that I dislike about myself. And to say dislike is putting it mildly because, as a reminder, this was buried so deep within me that I didn't even know it existed. And it's way beyond dislike. It was disgust, repulsion. I just felt like filth and just gross things. That's how I feel about myself. So, but Jesse is the mascot for that. He's the representative for that. And thank God that the guides Fairy Girl allowed me to not have those ugly images anymore. I didn't even really tell you what they were, but just take my word for it. They were gross. So I think that, now that I got the point, I no longer have to see those images in my head. And I don't even really want to have any image. But my story's out of order again, whatever. It's how life is. But, or at least learning is. It doesn't all come in one piece. But, so I went back to this kind of method of wondering if I ought to create positive thoughts where there are negative thoughts. So I thought, what better way to create positive feelings in Jesse than to think about him when I masturbate? Put him in my spank bank. And I tried, but I couldn't. I don't even want to see him yet. I don't want to look at him. And I'm kind of feeling like, I don't know, this is just one of my theories, is that, I remember him from the last couple times I saw him, but he really has gone through a big transformation. And I'm glad I didn't see it because now I feel like when I do see him, he will look and feel like a brand new person to me. I don't want to have any of those older previous associations with him, except for the friend part. He's a nice friend. He's a nice guy. But I don't want to have any of the, the repulsive feelings I have. It's so fucked up. But he understands this. And I think the rest of you do too, how it truly was a reflection of me. But I don't want to put that on him anymore. I want to take that out. I want to remove that mirror and just see it as me and see him as his own self, who he is, and not the representative for my filth. But since I couldn't go in that direction of, making him the star of my show, I just let that go. But I did get this one image, and it makes, I know it was a channeled message because as far as I got in my fantasies was just me lying there, just lying there waiting. And what I saw, instead of, I was like kind of trying to envision him touch me, just touch me, just allow me to be touched. Isn't that weird? I don't even want to be touched. So the image I got was, while it was him, I couldn't see him. All I saw was like a hand, two hands, and one of them had a chisel and like we call it mallet, hammer. I don't know what it was, but he was like chiseling my belly in order to crack it off. Because Fairy Girl once told me that the energy of the weight, the energy of the shame and, humiliation, whatever, disgust I feel for myself is much heavier than the actual weight, or it makes the weight heavier. I don't understand it. I don't understand how energy that doesn't feel like anything, it's not heavy. Like in the same sense, a rock is heavy. Although there is heavy energy, you can feel it in a room sometimes, but there are different kinds of heaviness. So I don't really understand how an energetic heaviness can translate into a physical heaviness. But before I can lose my physical weight, I have to shed the energetic shame that comes with it. So I think that image of him
cracking open my outer shell. I think that's the catalyst I need. I don't think it'll happen any sooner to lose weight and to allow myself to be touched. So I really think that I'm not going to ever be ready to connect with him. I think I have to be like that girl and fuck him first. Fairy Girl said he was so nice to me that I couldn't help but fall in love. So this is what it kind of feels like. I have two examples of how I'm feeling about this. I feel like it's not even like I feel like it's sort of like this, because it's more like it's exactly like this. I feel like, well, God, first of all, it feels like I'm like building up to my wedding night. I'm a virgin getting ready for my wedding night. And it's that significant. It's that monumental. And I feel like it's like an arranged marriage, because it is. I feel like my family members, my parents, my aunts and uncles and siblings and grandparents, Eric, Fairy Girl, Heine, Voltaire, Pierre, Jean-Francois. I feel like they're all like, you go, girl. We know what's best for you. Because when you have a damaged heart, you attract somebody in that same vibration. You attract, the fucked up shit. So if I were to leave love to my own devices, I might fall into a shitty pattern again, I really wouldn't, because I've healed so much. But just for the sake of the story, when others are looking out for you and love you, they see the bigger picture. They don't see the right now. They don't see the need of right now. They see the bigger picture. And I'm not really, I don't pay attention. I don't read. I don't follow along with arranged marriages. I have no interest in it. But I've heard enough stories as to many times the couple end up falling in love and having a beautiful relationship because the matchmakers knew what they were doing. And so that's kind of how I feel. And even, even in real life, it's, it's just the higher selves. Just like with me and Jesse organizing this, our higher selves. Even when it seems like on earth it is the parents, it's still the higher selves, because nobody can make you do anything. Anything that you do in this life, you either chose to do it or you agreed to do it. So that was a little something to think about. So here I am in my, my arranged marriage. I know they're all happy for me. And I know, Jesse's in a different place than I am. He's thrilled. He's nervous too, but he's thrilled. And I mentioned that, that yin yang shit. To where, his heart chakra has been shut down and mine's been blasted open this whole time. And in, turning our dials to the center in the balance, he has such a need to take care of somebody else, to love somebody else in such a big and profound way. And I'm the opposite. I need somebody to love me and take care of me. And while he's, mostly ready, he's scared, but he's ready. I'm not ready, but I'm never gonna be ready. And if Fairy Girl hadn't told me that story of that past life, I don't know where I would be right now. Because that message played a significant role in my decision to go ahead and reconnect with him. So I did, and I basically told him that I'm never gonna be ready, so why wait? Let's get this fucking shit going. Because I am a spiritual overachiever. I may not get my laundry put away, but I sure as fuck want to move on in my spiritual evolution. So if I'm never going to be ready for him, then why wait? So I messaged him and that's what I said. And I said, maybe you have some kind of, I'm sure you fantasized about this, what's your dream location? What's your dream scenario of it? And maybe it will be something that appeals to me too. So he made a list of places and he basically said, I don't give a fuck. I just want to be with you. So I went ahead and, I realized I have a golden opportunity right here. As resistant as I am to it, I'm not stupid. I know the arranged marriage is, something that, not only that, they have the benefit of, what's the opposite of hindsight? Foresight. They can see, so they know. So I'm completely trusting them. I derailed myself again. Hang on. Okay, I know what it was. It was golden opportunity. So here I have this guy, and he knows I don't have any money right now. So I'm assuming he's just gonna pay for everything. And fuck, when I used to manifest, you're supposed to manifest your perfect guy, and I'm by no means a gold digger. I really am not, but I can't help but fantasize about wanting to be taken care of like that. I want to be wined and dined, and I want the presents, and I want the love letters, and I want the trips, and I want to come first. Wink. So far, it's off to a great start. I just got to get over my shit. But I said to him, okay, so I've always had a fantasy of going to like the Rocky Mountains and I've been before. I actually went with my mom like 20 years ago, and we went to Breckenridge and had lunch, and I just loved that ski town. I just loved how like manicured and like natural and yet perfect it was at the same time. It was like adult Disneyland in a way, it's just everything's just trimmed up and perfect. It's like a caricature of real life. It's beautiful there. So I screenshotted a section of Colorado. I said, somewhere over here, I want to go there, and I want to ride a train through the fall leaves. So I picked a date, the beginning of the foliage season in the Rocky Mountains, and said, this is where I want to go, and this is when. And I'm always booking vacations for my family. It's my specialty. Sometimes I enjoy it, sometimes I don't. It's work, and I just did it. Because I'm not really especially enthusiastic about this trip, I said to him, who's going to make the reservations? I will. It's, it's my thing. I'm good at it, but I don't really want to. Again, I will, but if it's something that interests you and, maybe you're excited about it, you go, you can do it. And so he writes me right back and says, I'll take care of everything. And he did. He made a, oh gosh, my kids are texting and I'm seeing it. Stop that. He made a reservation right away. So I'm going to the Rocky Mountains. I'm going to meet Jesse in the Rocky Mountains, Keystone, Colorado in mid-September. I haven't even told Heather this. She doesn't even know. Because it just happens so fast. And I kind of feel like he feels like we're just jumping right back into friendship. And we're not. I'm not there. I think I'm going to be like kicking and screaming the whole way. And let me give another example of what this feels like. I've said from day one, and I don't mean day one with Jesse, day one of this twin shit back in 2014 with Michael, that this is just like a roller coaster. And I would scream at Michael in my texts in capital letters to get me off this motherfucking ride. I've said that in my videos before. Get me off this motherfucking ride. Just an up and down, out of control roller coaster with him. And then with Fairy Boy, we were actually supposed to go and ride real roller coasters. And he decided at the last minute that he didn't want to go with us. But, I've always fantasized about riding roller coasters with him. And in fact, a couple of years ago, my family and I went to Tennessee and we went to Dollywood, and there were no lines. It was magnificent. So for the first time in my life, I went on every single roller coaster in the amusement park. And I have a fear of them. I really do. So I conquered that fear, and I was very proud of myself. And I've always loved roller coasters, but I fear them. And let me tell you why I fear them, because I feel once again that I'm on a roller coaster. And I hate that initial drop. I hate that motherfucking initial drop. It makes me feel like I'm going to die. I understand it's irrational, which is why I keep riding the roller coasters, but that's how I feel. It feels like I'm dying. That doesn't feel good to die. So, but it only lasts for a couple seconds, and then the rest of the ride is great. I love roller coasters. I love the spinning. I love the centrifugal shit. I love that feeling of the heaviness of the gravity that pushes against you when you're flying through the air. In fact, that's what meditating feels like to me when I connect with an energy. It feels heavy in a good way, like it's just dropped into me and it just pulsates and it's almost like this solid thing. I love it. So that's kind of like what the speed of a roller coaster does for me. So once I drop down, it's fun. But the worst part of the roller coaster is not the dropping down. It's the climbing up. It's what's the opposite of anticipation? Because anticipating implies something you're looking forward to. I guess dread. The dread of slowly climbing, and it takes so long and it's so yucky and you hate it. You hate it. It's even, and then, you get to that top and you hold your breath or you scream or whatever it is. You let go and you surrender. And then you get to the bottom and it's great. So I'm climbing up that hill right now. I couldn't even get in line for the ride at one point. But now I'm climbing up that track, whatever it is. So that's how I see this. It's kind of like another analogy is, being pregnant and knowing that you're going to have this beautiful baby. You love this baby already. You haven't even had it yet. You can't wait for the joys of motherhood, parenthood, the joys of having this sweet little baby in your arms. But before that happens, you gotta have the baby. That's fucking scary. Nobody wants to have the baby. Nobody wants to give the birth. I had him cut right out of my body. But then it was okay. But it's scary. It's scary. So I feel scared right now. I'm not fearing for my life. I know it's going to be great once I drop over. But that climb, those labor pains are very scary. So that's where I'm at right now. And I started to mention that, I talked about the Stardust event being postponed, but it was supposed to be in September. And, Earth is semi-closed right now. Texas is extra closed right now because remember we decided that we weren't having the coronavirus anymore and we all acted like everything was normal. Well, the coronavirus wasn't playing along. So our numbers of infections, is that the word you used? Infected? They've skyrocketed. So Texas is completely shut down again. I'll probably go back to eating fucking boxes of candy again. Hope not. Because I have no motivation to diet or lose weight. I've done a little bit of self-care, but it has nothing to do with food. I'm reading my Noom. I'm following along with the lessons, but I'm not necessarily applying them. And I'm giving myself, a break. I'm not feeling guilty about that because I do see that bigger picture too. I see that my time with Jesse is directly correlated to that kind of self-care, my body self-care. And two things are going to happen with that, I think. I think one of the things is that I won't feel as much of a need to, be one of those airbrushed magazine models or TV models or whatever. I won't have that delusion of perfection. So I'll be a lot more easy on myself, number one. And I forgot what the other one was. So I don't think I'll be losing as much weight as I believe I want it to be. I think I'll just come to accept myself at a squishier size. I don't really care. I just want to feel comfortable with myself. And if I could be comfortable with myself right now, that'd be just fine. Skip all this stuff, but I'm not. So I am going to have to shrink a little bit. But it will be, I will be able to, when I get this layer chiseled off me, I will be able to. So if diet or not, I'm not even dieting. I'm changing the way I think. This Noom thing is pretty cool in that they keep saying don't diet, don't feel bad if you fuck up, because this isn't an all or nothing. This is changing years worth of learned behavior. It took me 6 years just to get ready for love on my healing journey. So I can't expect for me to undo, years worth of programming in, a couple days or whatever, because that's what I did the first time I lost weight. I went to the doctor for some unrelated whatever, and while waiting, I was reading the posters on the wall about their weight loss program. I went in for my appointment, and she said, "Do you have any other questions?" I said, "Actually, I do." And 2 days later, I started it, and I just slammed my weight loss. I was, ripping it off, every day a little bit more. So in that case, it was a flipped switch. It happened pretty instantly. My desire to lose the weight, well, that was always there, but my true motivation was instant. And that's not what's going to happen this time. And I'm sharing that part in particular because I don't want others to feel hard on themselves. This, my whole twin journey, at least this part of it, is, it is a weight loss journey too. It's just a self-improvement. Mine just happened to be weight loss. It wasn't like alcoholism or, overspending or whatever it was. Mine is my body, my weight. So for me, this has been a weight loss journey as well. And these things just take time. Okay, so back to this Pahrump house that I believe I'm going to in September. And I know I'm not ready to connect with Jesse any sooner. I don't even know if I can because Earth's closed. But I don't want to have my first meeting with him at the Stardust event for a few reasons, or at least 2 reasons. And one of them is, unlike that other me, I'll refuse to go fuck him in that smelly old barn. I'm not doing that. And that's what Pahrump kind of represents to me. The house is completely functional. It has everything you need, but there's no glam. There's no luxury. So I told Jesse this, this very same thing. I said, I'm not going to that Pahrump house in the dirty old barn. Because they don't have this thing with filth, I need everything to be super sterile and clean. So if anybody's going to be touching me, then it has to be on bleached, crisp white sheets. I want a view. I said, I don't care where we stay necessarily. My prerequisites are clean with a view. And not only that, there's going to be, I feel a lot of pressure when I host these events. I'm on. It doesn't matter what kind of mood I'm in. I have to shake off my mood and be on. I'm the host. People pay money to come and see me. I gotta buck up and suck it up and do my job. And it's a fun job. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I gotta go to work. But I can't possibly deal with this monumental wedding night when I'm hosting an event for, 15 people or whatever it is. So even though it seems like my life has been, it's already like set up, I feel like, in many ways. Just take this whole thing with Jesse. I've already done it. There's already a plan. I've already done it in another life. But this is the place, if you'll remember from if you don't, I'll remind you, but from the New Year's Eve resolution reading I had, New Year's resolution, Voltaire told me that, or maybe, I'm sorry, not the 2021, the one with Michelle. Either way, it doesn't matter. Voltaire told me that this is where I get to start creating. This is where I start manifesting what I want. I'm not like undoing past shit. I'm creating new shit. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to a smelly old barn. If it's true and I really have the powers of manifesting, then I'm going to do something else. So here I am at my golden opportunity to have somebody that just loves me so much, who wants to make this the most special night, the most special occasion for us both. And he's willing and eager and he wants to do this. So I'm like, fuck, Harry, don't be stupid. Just drop it. Just drop what you want. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And he's like, done, babe. How cool is that? So I'm really making myself stick to the vacation aspect of it. The train ride, the sweet village. I don't know if I'll have a train ride. If not, then he can just drive. Whatever. I love driving through backcountry roads. It's such a thrill for me. Finding a hidden creek on the roadside to go stick your feet in. Finding a heart-shaped rock on the ground. Whatever it is, I love those kinds of experiences. So I'm really focused on that. I don't want to think about any of the other stuff because it will worry me, and there's no point in living in a place of worry. So I've let, I don't know. Okay, start over. So I have, and I have like another fear. I'm just jumping into another place. Sorry, I get derailed. I do that. You know it. And I've been feeling, I just got to throw this in. I've been feeling uncomfortable about my home life when it comes to this, because even though I do have this relationship, this understanding with my husband, that I'm going to be having these relationships and I have his blessing, it's still like a step, my first step towards that. My first step towards, I feel like, a wedge between us, putting a bigger gap separating us more. And I'm not going to really tell him what I'm doing. I asked Fairy Girl one time when I thought I was going to take off to Australia a couple years, what do I tell my husband? She goes, don't tell him anything. It's none of his business. Tell him you're going to go hang out with your spiritual friends. She got kind of sassy about it. Surprised me a little. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's not necessarily a lie. I'm going to go hang out with my spiritual friends. And I know there's just the one, but that's not necessarily true because, I have friends in spirit. And Jesse, a personal message for you. Don't forget that I have invited Avery to all my dates. So it's going to be a threesome, like it or not. So I will be there with my spiritual friends, plural. And I'm not ready to deal with that. I'm not ready to confront that. There's no reason to. There's no reason. So I don't want to create another fight. I don't want any more. And I don't want to hurt him. He may even know what's happening. I hate that part. It really hurts my heart. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to have a fight. And just the knowledge that it's like one step closer to leaving my family unit really hurts me a lot. I let myself take that out in little pieces at a time, and I have for a while now. There's no way that shit is not going to be painful when it happens. As ready as I am to go, or as much as I want to go, and as much as I want to be out of this marriage, I know it's going to be so hard. So there's that part too. And gosh, I know there was something I wanted to say about the other two 20s. What was it about this? I don't know. I can't remember. I am very, very curious still as to if I do the same thing for them that Jesse did for me. Am I a reflection for them? And what is that reflection? I wondered if it had something to do with me being so vocal, because those two are so quiet. In fact, Jesse told me, he watched my video and he said, you did so much more for me than, trigger me to take care of my body. He said, I never was in touch with my feelings before. I always numbed them with drugs. I never spoke about my feelings. I never even admitted I had feelings. I'm kind of putting words in his mouth right now, but I think that's basically what he meant. And that cracking open of him through me allowed him to be the opposite of that. He's been very vocal about his journey and his feelings. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it will be with them. I have no idea. I really don't know their inner turmoils. In fact, Michael always seems so chill. And, in my mind, in my filter, everybody had a fucked up childhood. So I'd always be like, so, in which way were your parents assholes to you? And he'd be like, nope, they weren't. I had a pretty chill childhood. So I can't imagine what it is. I don't know. And something about, I just wanted to, I wish I had said this before and it doesn't even matter, but this is like, my journal, my video journal. So it's significant to me. But one of the reasons that I clung to Fairy Boy as long as I did and not realize that I had to unfriend him was because Fairy Girl had said to me that unlike with Michael, he and I will remain friends and support each other. And then, all of that Aboriginal stuff and the jumping off the cliff in Australia and all that, I realized, no, that was an expectation that I am, I'm not going to be, I believe that Fairy Girl had created another expectation in me and that we were going to remain friends. And so I thought that was yet another way in which I was betrayed or lied to or whatever, because I had to unfriend him. But now looking back at that, she was right. I just misinterpreted that. Because with Michael, remember I said that, the guides pulled some shenanigan on us and pissed me the fuck off. And I hated him. They made me hate him so that I would leave him alone. But with Fairy Boy, I almost said his name. With Fairy Boy, through clues, I was able to get to that same place of leaving. And I did, without having to, hate him. So even though I officially unfriended him, there is no hate. And so that's it. That's what she meant. I just misinterpreted her meaning. It wasn't Facebook friends. It was just friends. So there's no animosity. There's no ill will. And while he didn't answer back, he did react with a little heart. So I'm going to take that as what Fairy Girl meant by support. We're still friends and we still support each other. So I guess that was, just part of my own story that I wanted to share. And another example of how I can run with information and, tweak the interpretation of it. And I'm wrong sometimes. It fucks with me. Oh, sorry, I got drippy nose from tears. So let me think. What else do I want to share about? I don't know. I know that there was more stuff, but I feel like this one was kind of more on the shorter side. Okay, well, I'll review it. And if I, my MO, I'll add some stuff on at the beginning or the end. But for now, as it stands, well, I think it's pretty. I think it's sweet when I'm in my expanded place, when I'm looking down on this, taking myself out of this. I think it's so sweet that this romance is unfolding right on the internet, right for you guys to see. I mean, he's sharing his messages in the Stardust group, and I'm sharing mine in my video. It's trippy. It's very sweet, and it's sweet for a girl that's always been in the shadows and a girl that's always been kept a secret. Here it is, this public unfolding of this monumental wedding night. Ooh. But when I'm not in that expanded place and looking at the sweetness from above, I'm down here, right smack in the middle of it. And it's very unnerving. I feel very vulnerable. I feel embarrassed. I can't even, look how many times I'm looking down telling this story. It's like I can't even connect with the little camera circle on my computer because it just makes me feel so uncomfortable. But I'm going to push through it because why the fuck wouldn't I? I got to get up that roller coaster hill and then ride this thrill ride of love and romance and passion and being spoiled. Jesse, don't forget to buy a hairbrush so you can brush my hair. You don't want to use my ratty old one because I use it on Soba. Share my hairbrush with Soba. All right, I guess I'm just going to stop there. I don't know. Okay. All right, let me see if this is a taker. I sure hope it is because I hate doing them over because then I forget what I say and I repeat constantly. All right, you guys, root for me that this is a good one. All right, thank you again for letting me share my story and following along. Thanks. Bye. All right, well, I reviewed and it's okay. There's always something I wish I could redo, re-say. I mess up my words. Like one time when I was talking about those Aborigines people, and first I said it the right way. I said we were being persecuted. And then when I said it again, I said prosecuted. I hate that shit. I fucking hate typos. I'm going to take these up. But anyway, that's just part of it, and I just got to suck it up and let it go. Including the way, I restart these messages the way I do, but
beats not having the information in there, and it certainly beats starting all over again because that's such a challenge. So I only forgot a couple things so far. And one of them is that, this life of this other girl is becoming more significant than I believed at first, and I was kind of jokey and insensitive about her. I keep joking. I had sex with lots of boyfriends, and I kept getting pregnant, having abortions, and I didn't care. I was all hoary and horny. That's the take I have on her. And that's kind of the way Fairy Girl presented her to me, but that could have also been like a filter of mine too, because the reality is that if she is a me and I'm repeating a piece of life, then there's a very good chance that she too was looking for love and not just being, hoary and slutty. And I've often wondered I have polycystic ovaries, and that's a recipe for weight gain right there. So I'm sure that she decided that, that would be a good way to make her fat. Let's make her have some fucked up ovaries so she can't process insulin properly. And I also thought that, so that gave me like a means to gain weight and have issues with my body to work through. But it causes fertility issues. And, it has been so long since I have had sex. I mean, I was a teenager basically, but I had plenty of it when I was a teenager. And so I feel like that polycystic ovary kept me from getting pregnant like this other girl did all the time. So I just feel like I've been insensitive about her, and I've been spending some time loving her and sending her healing because even though the story that I interpreted, she doesn't need any kind of help, she's doing just fine. I know better. If I'm doing it again, there's a reason for it. And based on that, do you guys remember me telling you the story of the first time, like, do you remember when Heather Trance channeled Mariana? Mariana is the person I was when I was the prostitute back in the brothel in Utah. That's the life in which Eric, see that, and I've said this before, it confuses me because he was killed in that, I almost said that movie. He was killed in that movie. And according to the guides, it was not part of the plan necessarily, because I was doing twin work through him. And so when he died, I was left hanging. And so I was told that that's why Michael stepped up. So maybe Jesse and Fairy Boy were like part of the original plan, but since Eric died in the last one, Michael stepped up to let me do that work again, or finish that work. And that's why it was, number one, so radical, and number two, why I did it twice. I don't know. There's something to that, and I'm going to find out soon. Because I want to meet her. I've decided that I want to meet this girl, so I'm going to hit H up for a trance channeling. Because with Mariana, back in my 20s, this is before any of the spiritual stuff happened. That didn't start happening until early 40s. So this is back in my early 20s, and I would have like flashbacks of that life as Mariana in the brothel, and the walls would actually change. It's like I'd be seeing two images, the actual image of the wall, and then like it was like almost like recalling a dream. Like if you think about what it looked like, you could see it through your mind's eye, but not really see it. So I would see those brothel rooms. I saw, and I did a past life regression once, and I saw Eric sitting on the bed. He was like this, just looking all lovey. And so that was a very significant life. But when I was having those flashbacks, it was during sex when I was with my husband in my 20s. And it would make me cry. I couldn't figure it out. Well, I learned a few years ago that what was happening was that I was absorbing that life as Mariana. She was like, her energy, her experiences, whatever, were dumping into me. So I think that's why I had, such a fucked up sex experience, sex life. And why it was so radical through Michael. I think I was healing from Mariana because I absorbed this girl. And if you remember,
When H trance channeled Beautiful Mistress absorbs me. So my personality and my memories and my experiences are downloaded into her. And I was told that I'm going to be doing this absorbing thing again. I thought it was Jean-Francois. I was way off on that. I think it's this girl. I think that I am meant to absorb her. And I don't know if I'm going to be healing her or if she's going to be healing me, because maybe she really did have a good and healthy attitude about sex. So maybe I'm going to learn how to channel my inner whore. Just kidding. Not the prostitute one, but the one that actually enjoyed it, if she did. And that will help take away the fears and the ugliness and the trauma that clearly sex is for me. I mean, you've heard me talk about nothing but sex and fucking for years, but now here I am. It's on its way to me and I'm afraid of it. I don't want to do it. It sounds like a horrible experience. So I feel like I'm going to be absorbing that girl and that she's more significant than just a story to get me from A to B. I don't know. And just for the record, Jesse has expressed to me, I know this is his story, but I'm going to share it here, that he's like, I know who you are, I know your story, and I know what I'm getting myself into. And he's meeting all of these other men. He's been a loner. I'll be like the first girl he's ever been involved with. He kind of likes his life, so he doesn't feel especially disappointed that I'm not going to be his forever girl. And he even was sweet. He's like, I'm even rooting for you, and I'm paraphrasing for him again right now, but I think what he means is that I'm on your side, meaning like not on my team, but on my side of the fence. So he knows what it's like to be so passionate and want these people so badly. So he wants me to have that experience too. And I get that, because when I think of Fairy Boy or Michael, at the very beginning, when I was told that Michael and I weren't going to live together, when I was reading about twins and the twin mythology, about how they are two souls split in one, and this is the time of history where they come together and they're going to live out their days in bliss. That's what I was thinking was going to happen once I healed. But Fairy Girl let me know otherwise, and I was pretty crushed by it. But I got over it, and actually, in retrospect, I want these experiences so badly, but I don't see myself being with them in any kind of, extended relationship at all. I mean, beyond friendship. So when I say things like what I've been told, I have learned to take them with a grain of salt. I have learned that while they may be probable, they're not absolutes. So when I say these things, I know better than to believe them 100%. But because I, kind of know my path, I'm comfortable with it. I'm good with it. Both of those men are so young. I feel like they ought to get married and have kids, and Jesse. I don't know what Jesse. He doesn't feel that way. I think he kind of feels like he wants to be on his own. However, that could change for him too. I'm the starter kid. I'm the starter girl. He's the starter boy. We'll see what happens from there. But the other two are young enough as well, so much younger than I am, that to be with me would deny them these experiences, because I'm done, I'm done with all that. But if they want to have it, they should. And I want them to. Just like Jesse wants me to have my experiences, I want them to have their experiences. And this actually makes me, understand where Avery's coming from, because I feel so guilty so many times about having all these experiences. And I when I'm in these places of intensity of my own journey, he really is on the back burner. So it's very rare that I take time to love on him and appreciate him. But I do see his point of view. I see Jesse's point of view, because it's my same point of view too, where I'm like, I just want my peace. I just want my piece of you. I just want this experience of connection and love. I want to complete that circuit. And I don't know. I mean, I've read things on the internet about people that, twins that do come together and do have that bliss. I've even read that some of them have kids, which I think that it's just too much of an intense relationship to play house like that. But everybody has a different story. So I'm not 100% on board and believing that you spend your days out in bliss, because that's not my path, and I'm always seeing things through my filter. But I'm not going to say that's not how it is for somebody else. I just haven't met somebody or come across a story that resonates
that that's totally true. But it doesn't matter. That, anybody gets to have their experience. That's just how I feel about it. So those are the two things I wanted to add, was that, I want to take some time to love on this girl, if not to like heal her, then to have gratitude for her for healing me, whichever way this is going to play out. And man, I hope that comes to fruition, that channeling of her. I also, this is my plan. I gotta tell Heather. I'm gonna kind of tell you first. But when we did Mariana, we also did future me. So I got two versions of me, and a different life past version of me, and a current life future version of me. Well, this time I want to meet this other girl. I don't even know her name. And I also want to meet Maurice. And Maurice is Eric, who was shot and killed with his brother robbing shit in the brothel life. His brother was Heather. She was the instigator. And he just wanted to like retire and go live on a ranch with me and love me. But instead, he decided to listen to his brother and go rob something else and got himself killed. Thanks a lot, Heather. So this trance channeling is the least you can do. And I want to ask him about that, about why, if things are, if you have like free will with your higher self, like I mentioned, I explained this before, you can't control me. You can't make me do anything. You can't make me do anything. Nobody can make me do anything, but my higher self can. So why did, I don't know. I just want to understand. I don't know. I know I'm mixing things up right now. But I don't understand why I signed up for somebody to have the twin relationship with and heal with, who just goes ahead and gets himself shot. Maybe it was just an exit point and he had enough. Or maybe the bullet wound was too radical and the humans couldn't fix it. I don't know how that works. See how confused I am? So I want to talk to Maurice about why he cut out on me. All that stuff. And also I want to talk to him about the sex trauma I have. If all of the healing I did through Michael was just this life's worth, because I said I had quite a run. But or did I, and I also believe that one of the reasons I was destructive sexually in my youth was to not only learn and have compassion for myself in this life, but to repeat circumstances from that life being used and abused by men so I can heal through it twice. So these are just theories that I'd like to explore. So cross your fingers that one happens for me, that episode. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so that's it for reals this time. I really am going to wrap it up. And I'm about to message Heather because today's the day, in theory, that we're going to talk to the fairies in my garden. So, all right, I'm going to go get ready for that. Thanks, guys. Talk to you again next batch of epiphanies, all right? Bye.